All right, everybody, welcome back to the Stoke Your Creative Fire Summit. I'm Toni Bergins, Joy Okoye, and today we have Jaymin Patel. Are you ready?
Oh my goodness.
You ready, Joy?
Right.
Yes.
Do our thing. Woo! All right, he's feeling good already. Let's
We have to
introduce him.
pom you. There you go. Oh my goodness. So this is exciting. So to be with you, Jaymin, this is awesome. Your mission is to help soul-aligned leaders unlock their greatest achievement potential, experience the highest levels of freedom and truth, and easily expand into even more abundance in health, wealth, and love.
Oh,
my goodness, you have quite
doesn't
a mission
everybody
here.
need that? And
Right?
his CV is very long. Books and books and books
Like
and TED
8
Talks
books.
and speaking and corporate
TED
this
Talks.
and that. And oh, I can't wait for everyone to meet you and helping people create an extraordinary life, an extraordinary life. Like literally everything is possible is his tagline. You will go to his. All right, Jaymin, how are you?
Oh my God, I'm amazing. So excited to be here with you both.
Was that fun to have yourself fangirled and then talked about?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. More, please.
Now you know you too can get fans. Okay. So I'm so excited to have you. So I met you in such an amazing time in my life, and I'm just so grateful that you're a friend of mine now, I can say. And I just was like, I have to ask Jaymin to be at the summit because of what you do and how you. Every time I talk to you, I get so fascinated with how you think and how you're like, oh, well, we could do it this way. And this is what we decided to do. And we just went like this. And now it's all, look at this. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like you have this magical way of turning things into beautiful.
I absolutely, I agree with that. And I love that reflection. Thank you. I love beauty. I really love beauty. You know, obviously I'm very strong in my masculine, but I'm also very strong in my feminine. And I think that combination of just growing up knowing that I had a really strong both, right? Like it wasn't like I only gravitated to one or the other. And that's just kind of been a theme in my whole life, is this kind of nature of both, right? And it's like this desire, I have this tattoo on my right arm. It says, truth is known by understanding two opposite extremes. And so, I've done so many things that are on both sides of the extremes. And it's not like I go there, but I go there and I unturn every stone and see, oh, this is why people love this. And I come over here and say, oh, wow, this is why people love this. And with my feminine masculine mix, it always was this way of like, well, I don't want to just do it the regular way. I don't want to just do it the one way. I want to find it like I want to make it beautiful. And not only do I want to have it be beautiful, like my feminine just wants that to be beautiful, my masculine's going to go and create it. It's just like, boom. Okay.
I love that.
Right. We want this beauty, and there it goes.
Let's hang out.
Yes. So I feel very blessed in my natural personality or kind of life thing. Obviously, it caused a lot of strife as well with everybody. Everyone has their own unique path, and it has pain, and then it has growth and beauty and all that. And for me, I just chose to really be with myself, really choose myself in every way, and then get creative to just open up everything. And to me, I'm like, I just want everyone to do that. I want everyone to shine as their true, authentic selves. And I'm starting with soul-aligned leaders, because they're out there like wanting to do more for the world, and they can get into kind of these similar things that hold them back. And when they can get creative with looking at what they have, so many times people are just like, wait, I can just do that. I'm like, yeah,
that's exactly what people, every time you would talk in the group that I met you, people be like, oh my God, I can just do that. You're like, yeah, you can just do that.
Yeah.
I remember you told me about
the whole other way available. So we look at it one way. We're like, oh, no, then I have to have that hard conversation, but then the other person feel that way, or maybe then I might, fear of too much or not enough or whatever. All that comes in. And I'm just like, have you tried looking at it this way? And they're like, I can just do that. And that's the power of creativity. That's the power of creating, like, a great fulfilled life, is just taking things and not being in the same place that everyone's in, where they're like, I'm between a rock and a hard place in my life. And that's just my truth. It's like, turn it, and you can literally just go out. That the video of like a kid in the river holding onto a stick and he's freaking out. and like he's like 4 years old, and then like his 7-year-old brother just comes and puts his feet on the ground, and he's like, "Oh, this is like it's like a foot deep." You know what I mean? It's like that feeling, and that's why the creativity I think is so important. That's why I love
I
that.
love that.
Because the more creativity people have, the more different perspectives they have to look at things, the less they're holding onto the stick thinking they're drowning, and they can just put their feet on the ground and walk out of the
Ooh,
river.
ooh, I love that. Pause. Oh my God, I love that. Can you repeat that? The more creativity a person has, the more ways they have to look at something to find another solution, a more beautiful solution. That's freaking the mic drop. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited right now.
And that's literally just the way I live my life, and that's literally what I've dedicated my life to, and that's what I help people do. It's just like I have that kind of original story. Like I grew up in a abusive household, narcissist parent, alcoholic parent. And I was just like, I don't know what it was inside me, but I'm like, this sucks. I don't want it to be like, I'm just like, why is it like this? I wasn't just like, oh, like this is the way it is. I was just like, this is really dumb. Like I don't get it. Like I didn't
You're making me
comprehend.
laugh, and you're talking about such really important stuff, but just the way you say, like, this sucks. Like, this is not how it's supposed to be, people.
Yeah. Oh my God, I hate it. And I was like, my parents were immigrants, and so I was first generation. There's just so much like religious and cultural pressure, and I just like looked at everything, and I'm just like, this sucks. Like I'm not into this. I'm like, why are you fighting all the time? Like when I was like not joking, I was like 12 years old. I would see my parents fighting, and then I would write down, I didn't know what they were at the time, but I would draw models of communication and be like, Mom, you're saying this, but Dad's hearing this, and he's saying this, but you're hearing this. See, this is why I need to stop fighting. And they're like, get out of here, and then like, they just keep fighting. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, am I crazy? Like there's other ways. There's other ways. Like just choose peace and growth and expansion. I think that was just like this thread in me. So when I saw my parents, I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Even from a young age, you were being creative to survive.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Beautifully said, Joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like survival, and then also this desire to thrive. It's just like, yeah, okay, I could just be okay. I could be safe, but even that doesn't feel great, like there's this deep desire in me to like just live and experience life at its fullest, like just to like be at that edge. Like, most people go through life and they're happy at an 8. If I'm at an 8, I'm a little bit like, what's going on? I want to be at an 11. I just want to be
I need to get on your list pretty quickly.
But that's why I'm at 11. That's why my life, not all the time. Of course, I have 3s and, the ups and downs. Like life throws you everything.
Right.
But my resilience to move through that and to be dedicated to like, not only do I deserve a 3 or deserve an 11, but I want an 11. I desire it, and I'm going to create it. Like, I think those are three key steps, because number one is, if you don't feel you deserve it, you'll never get there. If you don't let people know that you desire it, if you're not out there like, no, I'm going to get married every single year to my beloved. We're going to have 7 wedding ceremonies, right? like if you're not just declaring that and putting it out there, like, if you don't let people know you're actually desiring it, and that's where people, like, even if they're like, oh, I deserve it, but I don't want to claim it, like, oh, I don't want to be seen as whatever. It's like, you got to claim it. If you don't do that, then you won't get it. And then the third thing is you got to take the action to go be that person. That's it. Know you deserve it, go desire it openly, and then go create it.
I have to stop you. I knew I had to have you on this summit, because the way you talk about life is just so interesting. Like there's just no, like, we're not going to hover in this bullshit shit. We're going to actually we're going to like look at all the possibilities and create it. So you deserve it. I deserve it. I desire it. I claim it. And that's something people are so afraid to do. I mean, let's be honest. People are afraid to deserve it, because we're so conditioned with all the crap, which we can discuss further. Yeah. And then to desire it is so terrifying for most people. And then to claim it is just like, oh my God, how can I do that when everything's happening in the world, right? It's like crazy. So
that's this thing too, because they're like looking like, look, I would love that. Like, that would be really great. But I'm between, here's my rock and here's my hard place. Every human has, even me. Okay. Like, I'm not perfect by any means. So if you're watching, it's not like I'm an 11 all the time and I'm absolutely perfect.
He's awesome. He is awesome though. Every time I do him, he's at an 11, but that's okay.
I majority of the time at 11. I will absolutely like 100% own I'm majority of the time at 11. But I also love when I love tension and I love contrast, right? And that's what life is about. But people
Right.
see tension and contrast and they make that their story. And they go, here's my rock, here's my hard place. And I go, well, what do you really desire? You're like, oh, well, I mean, I would desire this, but you know, because after we moved to the deserving stuff, and it's like, okay, well, if you want it, look, just do this. And they're like, wait, I can just have the thing I want? I'm like, yeah, look, just do it this way. And they go, oh, that's the magic, right? That's
Right.
the magic.
It's because
like,
the mental
if you look at it
construct
this
is I have
way,
to work this hard. I have to do,
yeah,
here's how I get to. So someone
can't
taught me, my mother, my grandfather taught me that if I don't work hard and every single day, you know, go to the office, I'll never be where I want to be, right? It's like, it's all a
yeah,
bunch of bullshit.
exactly. And then when you
So
know if you say you desire it, then you can go creative. You can find a creative way to go and make it happen. It's available for everyone. I'm not joking. Everything is possible is such a deep meditation. Everything is possible.
Yep. That's your tagline on your website. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I was like, the everything is possible team. And I'm like, oh, I gotta hang out with Jaymin more often. Joy, you had a
Oh, yeah.
question?
yeah, I'm curious because we're talking about the extraordinary. We're talking about the future. But I want to know about that moment when it wasn't possible. Things were not extraordinary because there had to be a shift. The bathroom floor story.
Yeah, will
when
you tell us?
You find,
tell us the
yeah.
story? I mean,
how did you
if you're willing to.
How did you get to that point where you're like, I'm gonna turn this shit around? Fuck it, I'm gonna turn it around.
The bathroom floor story.
I mean, everybody's got that story, like they turn their lives
I
around.
thought maybe if you read one of my stories that was bathroom floor. I'm like, that's my wife's story. She's very much into bathroom floors. I'm not into bathroom
Oh, that's
floors.
so funny. He's like, I did not do the
bathroom floor. I will be like in my bed. I will be in like a really beautiful like nature spot.
Okay.
But bathroom floors. Okay, so
when you know what I mean, when you get to that point where you're like, no more.
When did it shift for you? Like, when did you do it? When did you suddenly start saying, well, I mean, I know some of your stories, so I'd love you to share it, but like, when did that moment happen? You said, I'm going to live an extraordinary life and I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know what? I think that there is this nature where people kind of say like, oh, like I had this one night, dark night of the soul, and I got a divorce and became bankrupt, and everything became clear, and I meditated, and here I am. And like some people get that amazing gift from the universe. I literally just had like a dark couple of decades of my life, you know, growing up in an environment that I grew up in. Like my parents loved me. I was loved. They tried their best. They were imperfect. I've now, like, I understand that. And there was abuse, right? It was physical, it was verbal, like it was not great. And so initially I would just kind of like, you know, like maybe freeze and kind of evacuate because I was like, this is overwhelming. Then as I got older, you know, I was a teenager and I was like, F you, I'm out. I don't know if I can flick the screen off, but I almost did. So it's like, okay, F you, like I'm out of here. and then ultimately, honestly, here's the thing that happened for me, right? And this is why like I stand in what I do as well. There wasn't this kind of one moment. There's so many moments, you know, there's, oh my gosh, like so many moments. There's one big moment that I can definitely talk about that opened me up into this, but all of the small moments were permission. I started, like, I just knew, as I said inside, at like 12 years old, I'm just like, this sucks. Why are we doing this? Why is life like this? Like, let's just choose to resolve this. And it's like, no, there's this addiction to drama or whatever, because, you know, it is just the situation. So again, loving yet imperfect parents, environment, you go with a lot of racism. I was the only non-white person in my entire school. There's no black people there, Hispanic people. And people were like, do you have a tan? I'm like, no, I am tan. This is the color that I am. And people are like, he just is tan, you know? And I talk about that in my TED Talk. It's like,
I listened to that. Oh my God, that really was a moving TED Talk though. It was,
thank you.
I loved it.
And I think that was a moment in which I had to decide, like, do I assimilate or do I be me? And for whatever reason, you know, that moment where the TV camera comes down into your face and you have to make a decision, I chose to be me. Like I couldn't hide my expression. It kind of didn't feel like a choice. And then what happened for me is I started getting different people around me. I would view them. I'd always be constantly looking at the world and I would look for opportunities. I would look for permission. I'd look for permission.
Mm.
And, you know, when I went to college, there was this person, I was like salutatorian of my class, number 2. I graduated a year early, so I couldn't quite catch up to the number 1 person, but I had, you know, got there a year early, so cool. And then the number 6 person had applied to this like local university, like 30 minutes from our high school, in another state, but like kind of, you know, local to our area. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't get into this program." I'm like, "What? You didn't get in?" Okay, like then I got permission from that. I'm like, "Oh, should I apply? Should I go look at this?" Like, so I applied. I got a full ride scholarship to the university.
What?
Tuition, board, money back for books. I almost got paid to go there, literally, and it was incredible. It was wild. And I'm like,
I'm so
wow.
happy.
I'm like, I can just create magic. And then when I was in school, then more things would happen. And people were like, "Oh, well, there's this other major that's like not so well known." I did that major and I loved it. And then I got into this like society, honor society. And through that, there was a job application. Then I got into a Fortune 500 company and they put me in a leadership, rotational leadership program. And I was like managing a team of 20 people when I was like 22 years old. And I was
I'm
like,
sure
okay.
you were amazing at it too.
I really loved it. And
I
they
know
loved
you
me.
were, because you just like, you have this energy about you that just like it's a ride. I'm like, we're on the Jaymin train. Woo!
Yeah, right. And that's, I just started feeling that is what happened. Like there's more evidence, more permission, more embodiment, more evidence, more permission, more embodiment. And it became a slower cycle of like this too. You know, I've written 8 books. You know why? Because when I was in business school, one person a year ahead of me wrote a book. And I was like, "You wrote a book? I could write a book." And then I wrote 8 books. Like, why not? Right. And that book was
Why
incredible.
not?
Tens of thousands
Look
of
at it
books
this
sold,
way.
you know? Yeah, it's just like, okay, cool. Like that's available to me. What's available to me. And it became this thing of what's available to me.
Oh, I love it.
Here is one moment where it really, here's one moment where it really started shifting and something big happened. And how old was I? I was like 26 years old. I'm moving through life, you know, I have my strong feminine, my strong masculine. At this point, at 24, I had overachieved my brains out. I was one of the top 5% of earners in the United States, 25 and up at the age of 24. So I was like overachiever, condo, car, all that stuff. And then universe, again, I'm looking for all of this stuff. And then I meet this man. I'm going out with my friends. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. And at the end of the night, there's something in me that's like, I cannot live without this man. And I fall in love with the man. And I'm just like, I'm not gay, but I love you. I don't know what to do with this. Like, this is like not my lifestyle choice. This is not who I am, but and it became the most incredible, impactful, loving relationship of my life. And it wasn't a dark night of the soul where everything was terrible and I had to choose. It was literally on a plate. I was given so much love. Like, look at I have goosebumps right now. I don't know if you can see it. Like, this is like years later talking about this man. And I was just like, there was just an incredible amount of love. And I couldn't, I didn't know what it was, but I was like, I have to love you. And the moment, it was kind of the opposite moment that most people have, like everything sucked. And then I just decided, I was like, everything was available to me, but I had to break the own walls I had around my heart and allow myself to fall in love with a man and to allow all the sexual shame to come up and all of the growth. And
I've been through this, so.
Vision, right? That really was the moment I can measure myself as the person I was before I fell in love with this man and dated him, and a man that I was after, 100%. And in that place, and then I started seeing love in everyone, and I dropped the judgments I was carrying.
Oh my God. Can you pause for a second? I love this story so much because it's happened to me. So, but still, just the way you talk, what it wakes up in me is something that I thought when I first fell in love with my beautiful woman, that it was the first woman I ever fell in love with. I was like, I'm not gay, but I have to be with you. And that's just happened. So, but I mean, it did that exact thing you just said. It was like kind of like when I had my children, my heart opened, 10,000 times, like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. And then I had my second kid and I got more heart open. But then when I fell in love with Erica, it was like, oh my God, now I can see how we are so wrong about love, and that love can happen in any configuration at all. So I've been able to open up so much around that. But what you said was like, everything is possible. Like it's like, you were like, you know, riding this wave, no idea this was coming into your life. And then you just said yes to more possibility. It's like I said this to somebody the other day. I said, I just want to take a bite out of life. Like, I'm so sick of like living this, like, sort of like, I created a persona of who I am. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like for me, I know, and you have to tell your story about that part, because like when you went to your thing and your wife and holding hands, if you don't mind telling a little bit of that story. I know it's like probably in another TED talk, but I don't know. But it's like, that was so powerful. You told that, I heard that talk. But
Yeah.
basically, like, everything is possible if you allow it, if you open to it and say, I'm going to reorganize my thinking. If shame comes up, if fear comes up, all things are going to come up. Conditioning's going to come up. Everything has to come up. I mean, when I fell in love with Erica, all my shit came up. I was a mess. I was literally like up all night writing about every relationship that I ever had with every man. Am I gay? What's going on with me? Or I literally all night long, I wrote like an 8-page treatise or 18-page treatise on this whole relationship, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And it's like, you know, what a blessing, because then your shit comes up and you're like, now I have to learn how to be with this, you know. And you talk about like shame and all,
Totally.
and for me, like
Yeah.
I spent decades of my life avoiding shame, and now it's my favorite emotion. I
Oh.
love it because, you know, growing up, I didn't understand shame. I didn't
Right,
understand how
Mm,
it was like, it was shameful to feel shame,
mm.
shameful to talk about shame. So we don't even go there. And then
Oh,
I
yeah.
created a relationship with shame, and I was like, now it's my favorite emotion. When I feel shame, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, like what's here? Now I know what to do with it. I've built the
Mm,
emotional mastery around it, you know, sadness, grief, anger, all of that, fear. Like I know what to do with it now. So now
mm,
when I know what to do with it, it doesn't throw me sideways and land me in that same rock and hard place. It,
mm,
I just get to like melt right out of that and go on with my life. And
mm.
so now it's like, it's something that brings me into integrity, and it's my favorite emotion, shame, right? And so having my life blasted open, it brought me open into, wow, literally everything is possible. Okay. And what about entrepreneurship? What about leaving this cushy corporate
mm.
job, you know, it's very demanding, and becoming an inspirational speaker and author? Okay, sure. Like, why not? Oh, then I'm going to write 8 books. Oh, all of a sudden I'm being invited to speak at Harvard Business School, and I'm traveling around the world, and I'm living this amazing lifestyle. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, you know. And then it comes to my wife, who I'm married to now for a little over 7 years, and I was
And you
moving through
have
life
7 weddings? You've
in
had 7
7 weddings.
weddings?
We just had our 7th wedding
I know
last.
you wrote, I texted you, can you be interviewed? You're like, well, I have my 7th wedding. I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
what? And you're like, no, to the same person. I'm like, all right.
yeah. Yeah, you know, I'm such a romantic, and again, beauty. I just want beauty, and I want celebration in life, and you know, I just don't think we as a human race do that enough. Like, we just don't allow. Like, I don't want to make it a big deal. I'm like, I'm in love. I am with a partner, and I'm choosing each other, and we're like, it's not like we're just together forever because that's what vows should be. Even when we got married, we're like, wow, okay, so should we write like together, like, you know, sickness and health, rain or shine, la da da, and we're like, no, actually, that's not true. We actually cannot promise that to each other. We
Mm,
literally, you know, 50% of marriages end in divorce. We know that. So it's like, why are we sitting around trying to make these promises when they're not really true? If a
Mm.
relationship changes, if it becomes abusive, if it becomes like a depressive time
right.
suck,
Toxic,
just
whatever. Hmm.
toxic. We're just supposed to stay in that. And
Mm.
if we end it, it's like, oh no, it's like celebrate, like, and do it in a way that's very conscious. Like, be like, yeah, you know, we can be co-parents, you can shift, do a relationship, as I call it, you know. But like for us, we're
Oh, I love
constantly,
that.
we practice conscious relating. So we don't practice one form of relating. We practice what we call conscious relating. That means, what does our relationship call for right now? We look at our relationship having its own energy. And this is a new creative way of doing it. We're not just like, oh, this is me and you. We're here. It's like, and this entity of the relationship, what does that want? And when
Yeah.
it calls for celebration, when it calls for choosing each other, we throw a huge party, we get, you know, custom outfits made, we invite people, we have food, we have music, we have ceremony, we have sacredness, and we get creative with it, and we celebrate with an expression of our creativity, of our choosing each other. Last year, so this year we had a big, you know, wedding, 50 people. Last year we were in a very different place, and our kids had just gotten to the age where they were like more independent, and so much of the early part of our relationship was a function of being co-parents. And so we were
Mm.
just kind of always like doing that, but now we didn't need to do that, and all this stuff came up, and I
Mm,
realized, and I don't know where it came from. I just went to her and I'm like, babe, I feel like we need to do a relationship death ritual. So much in our relationship literally needs to be burned down right now. The stories I have of you, you know, the
mm,
way you mother, the way I've been a dad, the way that we focus on the kids. And now like they don't need 70% of our attention. Like we have so much that we can now get into, and we need to drop all of this old stuff that's not going to support this next chapter. I feel it. And she's like, I feel it too. And so we did, we were all black. We went out to the black lava fields in Batur here in Indonesia.
Wow.
You are creative. I'm just saying, like, I love this so much. You know what?
The life, your whole
I know.
life
I
is about.
gotta go. We both got it. We're like so excited. Wait, hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's so creative, just the way you think, but it's also so freaking honest.
It's the truth. That's it.
And that's, I mean, that's it.
Truth.
Yep. Okay.
Number
So
one
let me just share
high.
with you. So like, I'm going to be totally honest right now.
Yeah.
Cause like I'm going through major stuff. I told you about my plant medicine journey. I mean, I told you, and I've been working it up. All my stuff's coming up. All this massive healing needs to happen. I'm not done. I'm doing another journey very soon because I just have to. But something that like, I have fear around being completely honest, even though I know there's so many things that I have to change. But if I'm completely honest, then what will happen? What will happen? And you're living proof to me that anything can happen. I mean, everything is possible. If I just could get like, I wanna talk more about that. So the creativity. So go on. So you had your death ceremony, and then what happened?
Well, we had a death ceremony. By the way, I designed my wife's outfit, so I'll send you photos. It's gorgeous. I found this like black material, and I was like, okay, I'm making this into something for you. So I designed her outfit, and then we went and we had this ceremony. We invited two incredibly powerful medicine men and women, our friends who were in the time, like global leaders, like just powerful beings. We're like, we want to go out for a weekend, invite you all, like we're gonna do this, and we need to hold space. And to be honest, I was like, this is just gonna be like a huge bitch fest. It's just gonna be getting everything off our chest and just kind of being held in it. But what happened was we entered like a portal. Like we just entered a portal, and we were like just all this stuff came up, and we just like swam in it. And when we came to it, I was like, babe, this was it. This is our sixth wedding. The amount of choice that I feel for you, having gone through this together, is like day one. It's like how I felt day one. You know what I mean? I'm like, this was it. It wasn't even like, oh, like let's, no, it's like it was all of the muckiness and all that coming up into the portal in this shamanic, amazing thing. No plant medicines. It was just literally energy. And plant medicines are great, so I'm thumbs up for that. But in this case, it wasn't. And it was just when it settled, we saw each other whole again, and we could choose each other. And I said, "This was it. This was our ceremony for this year." And there it is.
And this is the creative life that people don't live, because we like the average person is not doing that. We're not like, let's have another wedding. Let's have another wedding. I love this. I really want to talk about this more, because this is creativity of your life. This isn't just like creativity, like we're going to write a song.
What the heck else are you to be creative with? It's your life. You got one of them.
Right. Yeah. So we can be creative all the time in a fun, love-filled way, because we deserve it, because we desire it, and we can claim it.
Claim it. Exactly. And everything becomes possible when you just trust that, like, there's got to be another way. And that core thing from young, I was just like, there's got to be another way, right?
How did you end up in Bali, for example? Like, how did you end up? You lived in the States, you did all this, all that stuff in the States, and then what made you make the decision?
So just to note, for 7 years of my life, people are like, oh, it's nomadic. I literally didn't live anywhere. The most time I spent anywhere over 7 years was 4 to 5 days in one city.
Oh, wow.
Always
you were giving talks and all that?
Because I was giving talks, and I was in consulting, and I was giving talks. I was just always moving. Wow. And for the longest time in those 7 years that I was anywhere, is that I did spend 10 days at Burning Man, obviously. So that's like double the usual. And then I tried a stint in New York for 2 months, but I didn't end up really liking living there as much as I liked visiting there. So besides those two, for 7 years, I was literally just, in my life, I was earning so much money, and I was just like, oh, like what's going on next weekend? People would be like, oh my God, EDC is happening in Vegas. And people like, oh, we're taking a boat out in Virginia, or like, oh my God, we're gonna go camping in Idaho. And I would just literally pick which one I wanted, and I would go there. That was my life, like 2 weeks at a time. Maybe some speaking gigs in the future, but kind of 2 weeks at a time, I would just go. And then most of it was driving my Prius back and forth across the United States. So I
It's
wanted to
kind
see
of
my
exciting to imagine that. I'm thinking like, oh my God, how do I unstick these roots of mine?
Yeah, it's all possible. It's so easy, you know. It's like you just got to decide. And even so what happened when we came to Bali was my wife actually had this idea of, you know, I don't know. We both were talking about it because we knew we wanted to travel with kids. And she's like, I think we should start a YouTube channel. And so we did. So we started a YouTube channel, and we're like, let's move, let's go do this, and let's document it. So then we traveled 6 months around the United States. We went to 50 countries or 50 cities in 1 year with 2 kids under 2.
Oh,
You
wow.
all have kids, 2 kids under 2.
That must have been a little bit
Let me
nuts.
let's just pause for that for a moment.
I'm
Wow.
laughing because
2 kids under 2 is the most challenging thing I think anyone can do in their life at any point in time. Add global travel to that.
yeah,
Yes.
Wow.
I'm literally like, oh my God, hotel rooms. Like, what was their life like?
Yeah, in and out of Airbnbs again every 4 to 6 days.
Yeah.
And then eventually
Wow.
it was like too much. We were like literally
Just wait
moving.
till they're in therapy. They're gonna be like, my parents, we.
Yeah. No, but you know what the
kidding.
thing is? It's like whatever you make
I'm
normal for
teasing
them is
you.
normal for them. And they were
Right.
so adaptable. They became so social. They meet me on a plane. When we landed in Bali, they were just like, why haven't we been going on a plane lately? Like they're just like, when's the next plane? They're just used to it.
I
Yeah.
love them.
But anyways, yeah, we went on a round the world trip and then had a
Wow.
full thing planned. Went to Hawaii for a month, Australia for a month, and then came to Bali for a month, and we just never left. We're like, this is amazing. Is it like this all the time? And it
Oh,
only got
wow.
better. So we canceled Maldives and India and Middle East and Europe, and we just stayed here, and it's been 5 years now.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely visiting you. So just don't leave.
So-
It'll give me at least 2 more years.
There's nowhere else we're going. This is the
Okay.
best. I'm literally in my mind, I'm just like, why isn't everybody living here? I don't
No,
get
I
it.
told that to Erica. I'm like, we're going to visit Jaymin. We might never come back.
Yeah, it's
So how
it's
did you
li-
stay? All this moving about, and then you decided to stay.
Yeah, it just, I gotta say, the life here, I feel it's so safe. Like you don't have to lock your doors. Like it's like it's an island. The people here are so connected to ceremony and nature.
Yes.
And like, if I'm at a restaurant, like our kids would go like, and I'd be like, oh my God. Yeah. And then they'd just be with the staff would pick them up. Like everyone here lives in families, unlike the Western world where like everyone's so independent. Every person here knows how to be with a child. And they're not even know how to do it, but they're naturally drawn to it. So there's just this family orientation where like we're just at a restaurant and literally the staff is just picking up our kids, playing with them, taking them into the kitchen, and we're like, okay,
Right. They're like holding them and they're cooking and they're serving.
Yeah,
Here's your
I
kid.
know.
Here's your plate. Yeah.
so familial, and it's
Yeah.
so
Many countries are so different from here.
ceremony. And obviously it's the #1 tourist destination on the planet. So there's mountains, there's beaches, there's snorkeling, there's diving, there's incredible hotels, amazing food, like wild nightclubs, like everything that you could want, and then incredible nature and people. And so we're just like, we have great nanny support. We just, there's just such a amazing thing. And we're like, okay, like, let's do this. We came back to the US for 6 months to live in my favorite place on the planet, Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
And we came back, but then we're like, yeah, this is in Bali. So then we moved back to Bali. I actually was doing my speaking tour from Bali before COVID. Like I would travel from this corner of the world all around, like for like 3, it was crazy. But I did it because I was like, yeah, it's possible. I can do this. Like, it's like, once you decide,
Yeah.
everything's possible. You just got to decide. If you're watching this, just decide. Decide
love
that
it.
you don't want the normal thing, that you want something extraordinary. That's it. And then the signals will come, and the clues will come, and the support will come, and the clarity will come, and the creativity will come. It's literally I just decided. That's the main thing. And I was just
All right, Jaymin, you're so inspiring me right now. I'm
I
literally
love that word.
Are we deciding or what?
Yes, I love that.
deciding
That
or
is
what?
actually to decide is one of my most favorite words. Is to kill off every other choice. To decide. It's a very I love that.
Right. I have
It's just,
decided.
whew,
I
I've decided.
deserve it. I'm going to live an
Announcement.
extraordinary life.
So
Yeah,
you've been around, you've done everything. When you want to do it, you decide to do it, right? And now you're in Bali, you're just chilling for a little bit. What's next? What's exciting you now?
Joy.
Dude, I'm loving, I'm literally having clients fly into Bali to be with me. I just did a VIP immersion day yesterday,
Okay.
right, with my client. And like, it's like a dream come true. I don't know if there's like there's so many amazing feelings in the world, but one of the best is when you have cultivated so much wisdom in your journey, then you find someone and
Mm,
they're just like that vessel who wants that exact thing. And I go, well, what's
mm,
going to blow your mind? And they go, this. I go, yeah, I can do that. Right. And
mm,
it's just a matter of time of like, let me impart this to you because what you think is going to blow your mind is something we can do.
Mm,
That feeling of like
mm,
perfect alignment of client, I'm just like, I'm in love with that. So right now, like my mission is huge. Like, my number one thing, this is what I say, my mission on the planet is to be a dad. So let's not get anything else confused.
yep.
Everything I do in my life is literally revolving around me being a dad. Like I
I
earn money
love
for
this.
fun, but I
Mwah.
just be a dad. Like being a dad is my number one thing. We just want to vacate. We're in Bali, but we went on vacation to a resort, even though we're near the beach anyways, but we wanted to go like with a water slide and, you can sleep in a king size hotel bed together and get some new. And it's with like two kids and we played Monopoly Junior and Uno and swam and snorkeled
I
and
love
just,
it.
I'm like, this is amazing. Like this is what life is about. And then, they came home and the nanny kind of did dinner and all that with them while I went to my one-to-one client. I did a half-day immersion, the most beautiful place on the planet, this
Oh,
incredible hotel resort that's here in Bali. And when you come, I'll take you.
I'm coming.
And it's just this feeling of, she was like, I can't even eat right now. I'm just feeling so full of like, thank you. This is what I needed. And I'm like,
Mm,
this is what's feeling exciting to me. Like Bali is full of the most amazing practitioners, like I'm surprised JourneyDance is not
Mhm.
here because everyone who does some kind of somatic therapy, some kind of dance, some
we'll
kind of
get it there. Don't you worry.
they bring it here,
Yeah.
to like Yoga Bar where Ari and I get to teach every month. And so they just collect these amazing teachers. And so now we're just here and that feeling of like going around everywhere and seeing everything, I just don't have that. I'm like, everything is coming,
Mm, right.
everything is attracting to me. And it's like, literally I have another client flying in this Wednesday and we're going to see each other on Friday. It's actually a previous client, but it's like people are just like arriving here and there's so much that I get to do. And it's like
Mm,
have so many levels of how I work with people. And it's just like, I want to be in my mission. I just want to be in my mission. And that feels the most
Mhm.
exciting, and that's what it is. Like the relationship is great. The kids are great. Being a dad, moving into that piece and I have a
mm.
very healthy level of self-care, but there's always more. And so,
Yeah,
yeah, like,
self-care is just, I remember when I met you, you were said like you took yourself away for a couple of days and you went to this really super fancy places by yourself and just like had yourself a time. And I was like, oh
yes,
my God, I have to do that. So like I
yeah,
canceled all my plans. I got an Airbnb. I was like, I'm copying Jaymin.
yeah, right. And it's so good for the system, just being in a new environment, like for me, what I find,
Yes.
it's like, okay, like it's luxurious, so the opulence codes are happening, abundance codes are happening, your receivership is opening. I don't have to do something while I'm here. I can just be here and receive. Most people,
Mm,
a lot of
Mm.
my clients that I work with, they benefit so much from going to this like super opulent place that I take them to because it just opens you up of like being around it. I'm like, I'm here without an agenda. I can just
oh
receive.
yeah. I went to Egypt with my amazing coach Esther. I went to Egypt with her, and she only has you stay at these like very amazing wild places, and one of the places was called the old Cataract Hotel,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
on the
was,
river.
yes,
Yeah,
oh, it's like you just like can't believe, I mean, I just was, it was one of those moments I was like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been. I never want to leave.
Mm.
Just
yeah,
purely the beauty, like every light
yeah,
fixture was like blown glass of these flowers, and every room was decorated in the most incredible art, and the tiles and like all the textures and everything, the water, the plants, the smells, the food, everything. It was like, oh my God, this is
Mm.
what life, being human, is about, being in this body and enjoying it. And I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that I think many of us get caught up in this idea that not everything is possible and that what's happening right now is what's happening right now. So how do you take someone from that place into everything is possible? I really want to know. Would you share?
oh my God, there's so much I can say about this. So
Oh,
first and foremost,
please.
I want to give everyone watching homework, okay, or an
Yeah.
invitation, I like to
Give them
call it.
homework. Give them homework.
Literally find the fanciest restaurant or hotel in your area. Okay. And
Okay, I
just
got it.
go in there. And even if you just order an appetizer, just go and be there. Know that you're welcome there. Know that you don't have to go there and spend $100 on dinner. If you want to, you can. But you can just go there and order a drink and just sit at the bar, enjoy the drink, have a great cocktail, have an appetizer, whatever you want, and then walk right out. And just know that like you don't have to transform or change and do what anything. It's just like just walk in. I'm here for a drink. Okay, here's the bar. Have your drink, pay, and leave. That's it. Just get yourself used to, there's so much of my life where I'm like, oh, those are for fancy hotels. They're not for people like me. Just put yourself in that environment and it's gonna last. It's gonna make a huge impact on your receivership of like, wow, I can just walk into that place. I can just order.
I like that word, receivership.
Oh, it's a big part of the work.
Receivership.
Yeah.
And even if it's like a sparkling water, do it. Just face, like just feel, oh, there's a little shame, a little guilt. Okay, but I'm here, I'm fine. No one's kicking me out. Okay, great. Too many 80s movies. Okay. Okay. So your question is, how do I move people, right?
How do you move people? Like, I mean, I know you have a whole body of work, but like, how do you move people from a state of the world's falling apart? So, let's be honest, like here in the United States right now, there's a lot going on. There's tons of drama. I mean, there's tons of trauma, there's tons of drama, and there's tons of political crap, and there's tons of horrible things happening, and people feeling like they don't belong, and and we're trying to change the system and break everything down, like, and everything is possible, right? So let's do this. How do we, like, come on, Jaymin, just give me the download.
So let me just say, none of that is happening in Indonesia at all.
Right.
It's happening here. It's happening all around the world, right?
I know.
And I think it's like there's a shadow side to everything, right? Like I'm a huge activist. I donate a lot to charity. I support 7 children in orphanage here. Like, like I'm constantly looking for those opportunities. I never use plastic. Like my being is an act of transformation in all ways that I can be, always. Mm-hmm. So I think what happens is there's a dialogue, a narrative that is created on a national scale. And we get caught up in that narrative and the dialogue. And what happens is a lot of talking about it. Like I'll talk to some friends and they'll be like, oh, well, I'm just, the new Biden stuff or whatever. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, like Congress, like la da 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 da, and they might pass this thing. And I go, I don't understand. They might do something. Okay, so are you calling you congressman or like what do you, congresswoman, or what do you like? No, I'm just too stressed about it. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like it really, my brain doesn't comprehend it. They're thinking about doing something. So there's a narrative in the news that something might happen. You don't want to call yourself and your congresswoman, but you want to have a conversation with me and drop me down into that frequency. Like, I'm sorry, like it's not available for something that might happen. And even if something does happen, the opposite can happen right after that. We've seen it happen tons of times.
That's a great thing. Something might happen and the opposite will happen right after.
I love that phrase of, it's not the problem that's the problem. It's the things and the thoughts about the problem that's the problem. There's some famous quote about that. What saying?
I just like, my brain just does, I think it's like, and I don't want to sound like I don't understand. Like I get it, especially when everyone's talking about it. Yes. But what is serving you? What is serving humanity? Talking about what some person in a suit in DC might do, which they're going to do anyways. And if you call your congressperson and you take action, I'm on board with that. Yes. If you're going to sit around at a barbecue and instead of talking about your vision and your life and your relationship and what you want, and instead be like, oh my God, this COVID thing, huh? Or oh my God, Trump, Biden.
Okay, I get you.
Who cares, right? It's just like, if you care, you're doing something, you're acting. Yes. If you're not acting on it and you're just talking about it, not available for that.
Right. Yes. Because that's just right. That's just like masticating stress. It's just creating drama, creating. Yeah. I mean, I come from a very politically chewing, chatting family. So I have to be like, I don't participate in order
Yeah.
to stay on my mission and to stay in a vibration that I feel is me, and just be me and be as open as I possibly can in the world. Otherwise, I'm just going to shut down, right? I mean, Joy,
Right.
you know what I'm talking about with all different family members and the ways we have to sort of
Sure.
adjust.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So, like, when you're in a culture that is like doing a certain thing, what I have found as a guidepost for me is like, do the opposite.
I knew you were going to say that.
If everybody is talking about Trump or Biden or whoever or whatever might be going on, it's like, do the opposite. If everybody is just whatever they're doing, just be like, why is everyone doing that? And does that serve me? And maybe it is, and then do it, but just at least consider for a moment that maybe the opposite is going to be more valuable.
This is creative thinking. This is creative
Yeah.
thinking, because what happens is we're trained to think as a mass consciousness. So what you're doing, and as a collective consciousness, so what you're doing is you're saying, wait, twist that around in everything, whether it's politics or whatever. What if we just do the opposite? What if you thought opposite? And not necessarily like, if I think Trump, I think Biden, everything Biden, I think Trump, but like, what if I think, oh, politics? No, you know, like, and try to like go and do the thing that is your mission. I love this. It's like creative thinking.
If I know that I can change a thing, I change it.
Yes.
Right. Every restaurant I go to, I ask, is your straw plastic? Okay, I don't want a plastic straw. So every person that I interact with, they're just like, oh, okay, this customer doesn't want plastic. That's how
This is cornstarch, I promise you.
Yeah,
I
right.
got it from the co-op.
That's the idea of like of what's behind it. The other thing to recall is that most people tend to optimize their life around feeling comfortable, which is why they stay. That's why they stay in certain patterns. And so for me, it's all about, don't get comfortable with being comfortable.
Yeah.
So as soon as I'm comfortable in something, I'm like, okay, I want to shift. This does not mean I don't enjoy comfort. I enjoy a ton of comfort, but I don't stay comfortable when I feel comfortable. Does this make sense? So people are like, well, I deserve comfort. Yeah, you do. Absolutely. But when you're just comfortable and things are just going, fine. What's going to shake it up? Here's where I begin with people. Okay. In life, you are either in pattern or practice. It's one or the other. If you're on pattern, you're doing the things you've always been doing. You're getting the same results. You're having the same conversations. You're feeling stuck. You're feeling victim. You're feeling powerless. You're feeling like the system is not with you and all this sort of stuff. Okay, great. So you're either doing that or you're choosing to practice. And for every pattern you have in relationship, in society, in parenting, in personal care, in your business, whatever it might be, in your health, whatever you're choosing, that's just a pattern, the Netflix and the porn or whatever. I don't care what it is. It's like we all have them. So let's just admit that, get over the shame of it, right? Absolutely. And then let's talk about it, because there's a solution. That's what's holding people back. So that's what I said. Then there's a pattern.
I'm like, don't take my Netflix away. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I mean, I watch, you know, one of my favorite TV shows, RuPaul's Drag Race. I love RuPaul's Drag Race.
It's so
I watch
fun.
it. I mean, it's such a great show, but I'm not out there watching these like zombie things.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding with you.
Political conspiracy things. It's just, it's like, why would I bring that into my system and this be tense? And then what happens is when I'm not watching those movies, I'm looking for it in real life. Oh, Biden, Trump. Oh, give me familiar of the tension.
To keep the patterning, to keep the pattern going. Exactly.
And instead, I much really go snorkel with my kids and get the same emotional feeling of incredible expansion and that tingliness from a positive source, of course, than a negative source, and then spread more negativity. That's
but I love what you're going to, so finish what you're saying. So going to the practice. Pattern or practice. This is so important. So this is key.
That's ultimately it. So what I do is they're like, okay, well, I'm in a pattern. Why are you in that pattern? Well, I'm between a rock and a hard place. Okay, well, like, what do you really want? What do you really desire? Oh, well, I want this. Okay, like, let's work on shifting this. Boom, here's your practice. If you take this practice and you do this every day and make this your new way of being, that old part will no longer be recognized. Great.
Oh, absolutely.
You that. We celebrate that. We do more of that. And then we just keep on shifting that, and then self-sabotage. So it's, it shouldn't be this easy. It shouldn't be this good. And then I work people through that. So it's like one of these things, when people work with me, it's like, you just get unstuck from, like, I think people are going on a line that's like good. And my work is literally to just shift the angle. So now they're going here. And then they're gonna have a dip where they go, oh no, and they go, okay, no, we're good, and they just keep
Yeah.
going. And then where they end up is completely a different life than they would have had otherwise within like a year. Within, you got it over 10 years, it's like unrecognizable. And I know that's
Oh,
happened for me.
so fun.
Right? And that's just really the idea. So that's amazing.
That's the
There's lots
creative
of,
life to me. That's
yeah,
the creative life to me. I mean, I think I'm definitely, I live definitely in pattern and definitely in practice. I mean, I'm working on a huge pattern of mine so I can improve my relationship. I know Joy is,
yeah,
we always talk about what we're working on and creating. And I love that idea of like, for us, we call it turn your angst into art. So whenever I'm like the other night here, I'll give you an example of what I did. I felt my pattern come on and I was going to say something not nice. I said, you know what? I'm going to leave right now. I'm going to go downstairs. And I went downstairs and I played the piano and I wrote this really sappy, sad song. And I was like, you know what? I want to change it. I want to make it, I'm not mad anymore. So now I want to change the lyrics. And then I was like, oh, I have these lyrics I wrote like weeks ago when I was watching this cool band. So I changed it and I wrote this whole cool song. And I was like, oh my God, I wrote a song. And then I went upstairs and went to bed and I didn't have the fight. And I was like, oh, epic celebration for me.
yeah. I love that. So
Because I
good, right?
broke the pattern. I love using creativity, literally the actual act of like, I went and did that because it's cold out. I wanted to go for a walk, but
Yeah, I use dance a lot for that and move. So here's the thing. So personal resilience, personal leadership, what that looks like is recognizing the patterns and then making adjustments in your life so that those patterns or kind of explosion points don't happen, right? So you can actually avoid them from you say, hey, I'm noticing every time you do this, I feel upset. So let's talk about you doing this
yes.
and what that looks like. Let's just go into, let's be honest, let's be truthful, let's get creative.
Mhm.
Oh, great. So now that doesn't become an issue. And then if it does happen, what do you do instead? You can be creative, right? You can go do these things. And
I
what
love that.
else
Let's
can
be
you do?
honest. Let's be truthful. Let's be creative. He's got a lot of three things that I like.
Oh, I love threesomes. But that's the thing, is like just choosing that in every moment. So then people are like, and that's where they get stuck. They're like, well, that's who my partner is. And then I go, but have you trained them to understand that this hurts you a lot, and that if they love you, then if they can choose something different, it will allow you to feel more loved. And you're like, no, I can just do that. I'm like, yeah, just do this. You can like, here's how to have the conversation. And you go, oh,
Yeah.
you just see this part of them relax and come
Yeah. I
alive.
get it. This is my practice. I'm doing it too. I'm doing it all the time. So it's been
Yeah.
so fun talking to you.
That
You're
is so
just
good.
so alive. You're so in love with life. I think that's contagious.
I told you, Joy. I said,
Oh,
you're going to
thank
love
you.
this interview. I said, Jaymin.
Your life speaks to that, and I think that is really powerful. In a world and a day where, yes, even though things are being dismantled, I think what we're coming into as a collective is, holy shit, why am I here? I want to feel alive, and we're having collectively the aliveness happen that is actually bringing forth the new earth, right? Because it's like, oh, I have this in me. I can go after what I want. And I can
Right.
create that extraordinary life. And there's unification in that.
Yes, personal resilience and leadership. Personal leadership is no matter what's happening around, like if there's a narrative in the news, political narrative of something, whatever is happening, and then that like disenfranchises people, it's working. So now who has the power? The power is being given away because the narrative is being created to create control, right?
Yes.
And to create disenfranchisement. So if that's happening and you're allowing that, then that's you're probably not as strong as you can be in your personal resilience and your personal leadership to navigate that. And then to me, at the end of the day, it's about the ripple effect, because we are all permission making machines. That's all we are. We all give each other permission. And if we're giving each other permission to fall into like despair and come down here, we're gonna go down there. If we give people permission to be strong and resilient in the midst of what may be happening, to find real actual solutions, to start a call campaign, to do a fundraiser, that's a visionary movement. But to just feel like stuck in a system because the system wants you to feel stuck, that's I'm not going to make a judgment on that. I'm going to ask, is that serving you? Is that serving the people around you? They want you to be stuck and you get stuck, right? And the thing is, you don't have to be. It's a choice. There's a choice there to make around, okay, this is happening. I don't like this. This is the way I'm going to stand up for it. And this is the way I'm going to live my life regardless. Because I'm not going to wait for that to go away. I'm not going to wait for whatever to happen, right? We have
right. You're going to do the opposite.
Democrats, Republicans. Okay, great. So then one person wants you to dump in the rivers. The other one's going to stop you from dumping in the rivers. And then, are you going to stop walking in nature, right? Like there's a level here where there is a way to really fix the problem, and there's a way to just be in the problem, right?
Right.
And so that's the personal resilience in leadership, is like, despite all those other things, to shine, and through shining your true authentic self, giving others the permission to see what is possible. And me receiving that from other people who decided to write the book, who decided to X, Y, Z, all the examples I gave, they gave me permission to see what's possible for me. And then I took action on it and I got creative. And if we're not all walking around being that for each other, then there's this a dullness that's going to spread. When we're in our aliveness individually, that aliveness will spread, and it'll overwhelm the system, because the system can't work that way.
Right? I love that. I have to comment. So Joy and I, we spent a lot of time creating the aliveness, like, dance every Tuesday we're dancing, every Friday we're creating dance and writing, and we're just really helping. I feel that my mission is to help people not get stuck and to keep moving, right? If we keep moving, we keep changing, we keep moving, we keep delayering, we're just going through the layers, and just, so I feel like my life is one long practice session.
Yeah, and mine too. And I agree that that's how it should be, because when you're in practice, you're consciously choosing what you're doing. When you're in pattern, you're
sometimes it's hard, but I'm always coming back to the practice, always coming back to the practice.
That's absolutely hard. And that's what makes it great, because if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worth it.
Right. And then you wouldn't feel that, the passion. Yeah. Passion is like something electric.
It is. Yeah. I love sadness. I love fear. I love angst. I love all of those things, because they're the tension. If everything was love and light all the time, I'd just be like, this is boring. Right.
I remember that was the story when you said you were at this fancy party and everything was going perfectly well, and you were like, I'm bored. That was the most amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, much more complex than that. I won't go into it, but you have to listen to his TED Talk. It's really great.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much here. There's so much richness available to everyone in every moment. And there's just a lot of things holding us back. And you got to start slow, but you got to decide for yourself that you want more. Remember that you deserve more, you desire more, and then claiming that.
I love it. The claiming.
And as soon as you do that,
claiming.
Joy loves claiming. She's into claiming. She's like, I claim this. I love when Joy says, I claim it.
And then guess what happens? What you want happens. Life becomes, it literally feels like, when people are done working with me, they're literally like, it feels like just miracles are occurring every day, because they're just so not used to things happening how they want all the time, that when they start happening, they're just like, this should have taken me 6 months and I did it in 3 weeks. And it's like,
all right. Well, you're in the magic zone with us. We are so happy to be talking to you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be sharing this with everyone watching. Like, it's a big thing to take away. Just find your patterns, find a practice to replace it. If you can build step by step from there, you don't have to go. And let me tell you, all the stuff that's going on in the US, all the stuff that's going on all around the world is hard. And it does require or deserve attention. And it does, and we talked about it. I'm not saying ignore it. I'm not saying let's squander, but I'm just saying do that. And then how do you get out of that?
I'm so glad you're saying that. That is so important, because it's and that is happening. And what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
This is
you want to have a conversation 17 different times over and over again.
Right.
Or do you want to go create something that's going to shift it? That's it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's the thing. I don't want to feel like insensitive to those things. They are important, and I consider myself a huge activist in so many ways. And there's different ways to approach all of these different things, right? And just having a bitch fest about it 17 times, probably I would just offer may not be the way, right? But having that and then talking about how we're moving forward from it, encourage others to move forward from it, taking action with it, digesting it, preparing for what's next, like that. That's a conversation I want to be a part of personally.
I love that. And I love just creating the thing that you most want to live, because I think that, one of the things that we do in our work is we create community, and we invite as many people to come into the community as possible. And at our, and we create this sharing of wisdom where everyone shares their wisdom. And it is the most moving thing that I've ever experienced, is listening to other people share their wisdom and to really take them in.
Part of it.
And I'm like literally going to take notes on this interview when we're done. When we're done, I had to be focused, no notebook. But again, I just want to say, like, so just as we close this interview, what you've brought me into is a whole idea of the creative thinking, the creative solution, the creative do the opposite. Everything is possible. And this really, like, what if this is possible? What if this is no rock, no hard place?
Yeah.
Like, what if? I just really love this.
Totally. And the thing is, we can't always see it on our own. That's the thing. When we look at our life, it's like, even for me, this is why I've literally, my journey, I've invested over $350,000 into coaching, to receiving coaching over 10 years, because I just was like, I'm stuck and I don't want to be stuck. Who can see me? You.
Right.
Can you see? Boom, breakthrough there. Okay, I'm stuck again. Okay, boom. And I just was like not willing to stay stuck, right? And I think that's really the big thing here. And you mentioned these wisdom circles. I just sharing. I'll share here something that I shared in my VIP immersion yesterday with my client. But imagine, a life in which everything you share, everything you speak, serves as a blessing to others. So, the way that you're responding to me sharing this way of living serves as a blessing, right? But if I was here and just talking about Biden or Trump or whatever,
we wouldn't feel that way.
Is that blessing someone, or is that bringing them into that lower vibration of, right? Whereas if you're elevating the dialogue, even if it's the same dialogue, okay, this is happening and here's where we're going to go next. Here's what's possible now. Here's why this can be beneficial, right?
Creative thinking again. We got to get people creatively thinking. That's the thing. So many people are not thinking creatively. They're just right. So let's do that. Let's make a little mission that we're going to help people think creatively. Everybody, get a coach, help you get unstuck.
Yeah, just make some changes. Get creative.
Yes.
Let your life, let your words, let your actions be a blessing to others. Imagine a world where everyone's doing that. That's my vision.
Oh, we are with you. We are.
I know you're with me.
Yeah, we are so with you. And everybody watching who know Joy and I are going to love this, and they're going to be, oh my God, I'm definitely going to remind everybody to make sure they watch this, because that's what we all want to do. We do. We want to bless each other with our wisdom and with our love and with our, sometimes it's really hard just with our holding. Sometimes we just need to be held.
Exactly. And it's all welcome. It doesn't mean the opposite is not welcome. It's just choosing more of one or the other, and slowly moving it over one piece at a time.
Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you.
Wonderful talking to you, Jaymin. Woo, 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 woo. Are we doing this?
All right, Jaymin. So everybody, this is Jaymin Patel. Will you tell everybody your website?
Yeah, it's JayminJPatel.com, JayminJ Patel. Instagram, I am Jaymin J Patel. Also hit me up on Facebook. I have a free community on Facebook called Everything is Possible.
Great. We will put that right underneath this interview. Perfect. And people can jump right on. All that.
Other cool trainings in there, getting over upper limit problems, making sure your offerings are aligned to your soul, all the good stuff is all there. And just please absorb it all. There's this, I hope that everything that I share becomes a blessing for others. That's really,
and you have a great YouTube channel as well that I've watched videos on. So we're going to get all in the Jaymin J Patel bubble. Everything is possible.
Yay, love it.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us
Thank
across
you
these
both.
many miles.
Yeah.
Should
thank you everyone who's watching.
Should we do a moi?
Thank you so much. Oh, he's so fun.
I know. He's just like, energy, like
Mm.
like like a firefly, like a bundle of just zest, right? Zest for life.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
yes.
like, he's like, duh, why don't you just do what you want? I mean, that's the feeling I
Yeah,
get.
yeah. It's like,
Duh, just live your best life. Just do what
yeah.
you want. I love it. Like,
But
hello.
like he does it in a beautiful way. Not like not
Yes,
yeah, exactly. Not like, oh my God, what are you doing over there? It's like, hey, wait, just think this way. Just switch your thought, look at it this way. And then look.
absolutely.
That was so much
Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah, I love
Everybody,
the
we hope
I
you got a
love
lot. Yeah, go say,
I
Joy.
loved what he talked about choice. And I said that too. It's
Mm,
one of my favorite words to really to decide. And he
mhm.
really has made decisions in his life to live
Yes,
what he wants to do, aim for what he wants, have
absolutely.
intention and enjoy it.
And
Enjoyment, desire as the
yes.
intention.
Yeah, I know. I love the deserve, desire, claim. And I'm sure we'll
Mm.
say that many more times before we're gonna start using that. What do I do? What do I deserve? I mean, and how do we get into that deserving receive, what do you call it? Receiving state? And it was much
Oh,
receivership. I love that.
receivership. And to go into a
Yeah.
restaurant and get the drink, the fanciest restaurant.
We're doing it as soon as you get here. All right, everybody, go. We don't drink, but well, sometimes we drink, but we don't drink often, but we'll have an appetizer. Okay. All right.
All right.
Love
We'll
you.
see you
Thank you
next
so much for
time.
joining us for the Stoke Your Creative Fire Summit.
Woohoo! All right.
Mwah.